Hey guys, Jeff here, Dice Setters. So if you missed last Saturday, which, yeah, not all of you missed that Saturday, but some of you did, it was completely awesome. There's nothing like sitting with a bunch of people that know how to roll dice. We're not perfect, but man alive, each one of us sat there and came out ahead. That says something. That's pretty good. And it took like forever for us to go through our line of people. So if you missed out, next month I have two dates, two options. And whoever sits there and has more of one, that's the way I'll choose. But I have the 10th or the 24th of September. You guys pick and choose and let me know. The email is dicesetters@gmail.com, or you can leave it on Facebook, however you want to do it, or you can even leave it on the comments of this video. We'll be at Wild Horse Pass either day. So someone had a question about table, about how long is it, what's my throwing distance. So this middle section right here, this line right here, this is the 6-foot line from here that way, from here that way. I've never measured this section before of a table, a casino table. They'd probably frown on it if I sat there and took out a measuring stick and measured. But my best guess is that this guy here is going to be 2 feet. If it's a 16-foot table, I could see it being 3 feet. 14 foot, 12 foot, I'm going to say 2 feet. Just because the stick man sits, yeah, right about here. So if that be the case, if you are practicing for a 16-foot table, that would make it 7. And then that one right there would make it 8. So then, right there is where you'd want to sit there and throw. Now I lost my dice. So somewhere, about there. If you're using practicing for a 12-foot table, you can actually get closer. But once you sit there and figure, here to here, somewhere between through here, you're going to sit there and make it just fine. I always sit there and say R1, R2, L1, L2. So this will be R1, R2. This will be the hook. L1, L2, the hook. If you are a true dice setter that wants precision and you're not playing on a bouncy table, 1 or 2, perfect. There are people that will sit there in the hook and they will sit there and roll them into that other hook, and they will make some decent progress in that. Bone Thrower was like the first one to sit there and say this is dice setting, and many people sat there and got mad at him for saying that. But he proved over and over again, dice setting is that you have a start point and you have a way of progressing the dice through. There are some people that they do, they sit there and say, well, I see them set it, and they'll sit there, but they're not always on the money, they're not always in the same area, and they're not always going the same, always the same flow, So that should sit there and answer the question for someone who asked, how big is my table and how far do I throw and stuff like that. Most tables that you see in Vegas are going to be 14 feet. The 16 foots are pretty much in the station casinos, and they are massive. I mean, if you go there and it looks like a battleship, or like a battleship, that is a 16-foot table. There are some that actually go down to an 8. If it was my casino and it was an 8-foot table, it's going to be super bouncy, because that's crazy. This is 6. This would be 7. That would be 8 from here to there, which means that your center point, so that means that you're only throwing, it's crazy. But if you ever look to for pricing tables, the 8-foot tables are just crazy expensive because there's more demand for it, because most people don't allow you to have a craps table in your living room, or they don't have a special room for that table. So that's why they do have 8-foot tables. I have seen them in Vegas, and most of the time they are like in a special room to me, I've never played on one. I don't think I would want to play on one. I just rather 12 foot, 14, 16. It's fine with me. Tomorrow I will be in Vegas for a small portion, and then I'll be heading to Reno. So if any of you guys in Reno want to sit there and shoot craps, whatever, I'll be there. You can get me on Facebook. You can get me on dicesetters@gmail.com to sit there and touch bases with me. And for those of you that do live in Reno or have gone to Reno, what are some of the tables to stay away from, and what are some of the tables to go to? And can you give me some kind of idea of what the table limits are as far as minimums and maximums? That would be a great help to me. And that's why you're seeing me on Wednesday and not Thursday, because Thursday I'll be in Vegas, and then I'll be in Reno. Like, share, subscribe. If you didn't like this one, I'm sorry, but definitely if you're making your own table, little things like this is very, very, very important. And for those of you who are thinking about making your table but don't have the room, you can always do half. You can even do as much as 1/3, but then you'll have an empty spot, and you'll have to have a little stand for you to sit there and and have. And they do have them on Amazon. It's if space was was something that you had to worry about, get them on Amazon. Last time I priced them out, less than like $300 for the little U shape and for the little stand. And you can always take them down, put them back up. For those of you that that think that throwing it dice in a box is beyond you, a bone thrower started with dice in a box because that's all he could afford. And then as he worked himself out, he sat there and got better, and now you see his beautiful table that he has on the videos. But it's just continually the same movement over and over again. And the height truly doesn't matter, how far the span. It does matter to some extent, especially if you're standing here and you have 16 feet to reach that way. I would not suggest, actually thinking that the dice are going to go through the air without moving. No, it's not going to happen. But if you are stuck on the end, definitely a rolling type. And I've shown many times that this one right here is really good. All sevens, and you can either pitch them, this way. You can sit there and roll them. You can sit there and roll them, this way. However you want to do it. But 16 foot, I've never had great success at doing it. I mean, maybe 3 or 4 times, but there's just too much distance. That's why the rolling method would more likely work. Now, there might be some out there that can sit there and say, man, I like the very end of the table, and I can sit there and dice set it, and I can roll, 6s all day long. Hardway 6s. More power to you. But I'm not one of those guys. So, like, share, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Tell me if that was a help to you. If anybody has any, you're going to build a table, you want some information, just email me. I'll sit there and help you as much as I can. Each one's going to be different, and what you're trying to get out of it is going to be different. But it's completely up to what you're looking for. But if you're looking for something close to what the casino has, I can help you out. Just send me an email. Thanks, guys. Later.